What's up, Archons? I'm Flightless Pheasant, and yesterday we got the Baltimore Vault Tour recap, and a couple weeks ago we got the Portland Vault Tour recap. I've been very busy, but I'm going to do them both in one video so that we can do them both together. I did my personal recap of the Portland Vault Tour, so that's a separate video. This is just going over the official Ghost Galaxy posts on the KeyForging website. So let's start with Portland, and then we'll go to Baltimore, and I'll give you my thoughts as we go, because that's how these work. All right. Our newest store partner, Guardian Games, played a crucial role in continuing Vault Tour 2025 by hosting their inaugural premier KeyForge event. This large West Coast store in Portland, Oregon, welcomed 49 enthusiastic players, all vying to forge their legend and claim the ultimate KeyForge title, Vault Warrior. Yeah, Guardian Games was a really good store. I might be convinced to go back there pretty easily. 3 tournaments were completed across the weekend in each of KeyForge's competitive tournament formats. Sealed, Archon, and Alliance. Champions who did not already hold the Vault Warrior title attained it and were awarded an invite to the KeyForge 2025 World Championships in November, in addition to all their other prizes. Heck yeah. Yeah, let's just keep going. Legends in Amber Clad. We saw 3 champions emerge from the fires of intense competition across our major tournaments, with numerous players showcasing their skills and securing top-cut positions across various formats. It's fair to say that Amber is the stuff of legends, as only those who harvested and spent the most were able to write their names into the history books. We also introduced another 8 decks to the Hall of the Ascended, with special accolades to show off their accomplishments. Ascension removes these decks from organized play until the World Championships. Additional rules that govern Ascension are in the TRG. Perhaps we'll see these incredible decks again during the events hosted at KeyForge Celebration in November. And now, as is tradition, we honor our glorious champions. Hell yeah. Alright. Sealed. Reintroduced as a major competitive format in the 2024 season, Sealed continues to be extremely well-loved format among attendees. 45 players participated this weekend, with most showing up early on Friday to compete. Players competed using 1 to 3 sealed decks of KeyForge Amber Skies. Decks were constructed using the Alliance deck mechanics. Sealed allows players to swap house pods from their 3 decks between rounds. Because of this, we do not have a detailed breakdown of the houses used, pod selection, or top cards of this tournament. Yeah. This was a lot of fun. This was the Amber Skies Sealed. I was really hoping we'd have Prophetic Visions ready to use for Portland. We did not, so we used Amber Skies. But as a result, I ended up doing pretty well. So Dev won, Dave C was second, and then Magic Duck and I got top 4. And look at that. Oh, top 4. Hell yeah. My team's real proud of me. Alright, so let's go down to Archon, because this is what I'm sure everybody's all curious about. So let's dive into Archon. Archon had a robust showing of 38 participants on Saturday. KeyForge Grim Reminders was present in high numbers as expected, but KeyForge Amber Skies narrowly beat it out for the top spot it normally enjoys. Tokens of Change was also a solid 3rd pick, while other sets had much smaller showings. The Archon field was as follows. Yeah, so Grim Reminders still had a pretty strong showing in the field, and it way outperformed its showing in the field in the top 8. Flaming Hobo won using a Grim Reminders deck. The runner-up was using Amber Skies. That was Mosey. And then you look in the top 4, you'll see another Grim Reminders. And if you look in the top 8, you'll see a 3rd. So 3 of the 10 Grim Reminders made it into the top 8. Now, Grim Reminders, Amber Skies did not solve the Grim Reminders problem. It made it a little harder. It gave it a bit of a run for its money. But I think we can now pretty much definitively say that Amber Skies did not solve the Grim Reminders problem. But, as we'll see in our next Vault Tour that we're also going to talk about, Baltimore, when Prophetic Visions gets added, we'll give them a chance to see how that turns out. But, yeah, I think we can pretty much say that Amber Skies, during its run, where it was the newest set, never really outperformed Grim Reminders, and Grim Reminders just kept it under its thumb pretty much constantly. And even Tokens of Change didn't really seem to be able to fix it. So, as always, we're going to look at the houses. Geistoid had a spooky number of decks representations, fielding nearly a 1/3 more decks than the next top house. Mars, Untamed, Logos, Dis, and Skyborn all had double-digit numbers, with roughly similar deck representations. The only house that seemed to lack at least one spot was Sanctum, with no decks containing them. So here are the top 10 decks. Yeah, Geistoid, way overrepresented. There were so many Geistoid pods. And if we scroll down and we look at the cards that appeared most frequently, hey, look at that! Look at that! Who's number 1 and number 2? Again. The two repeat offenders. And just below them is Against All Flags, which isn't really surprising. So, as we'll see when we talk about Baltimore, it's possible that we've solved this problem enough that we don't need a further solution. But I'm still thinking maybe it's not a bad idea to think about if we do or don't. Now, I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get to Baltimore. But as for Portland, Archon, Grim Reminders still won the top spot. Grim Reminders still overrepresented in the top 8. Like, yeah, it's the same problem we had for Roseville and Rochester. It's just not managing to really break into the meta. The only time Amber Skies actually overtook Grim Reminders was in the Archon Open tournament at Worlds. But you got to remember, in the Archon Open tournament at Worlds, you probably don't have the best Grim Reminders decks because those are all in the Worlds tournament. So you're dealing with like the second and third tier Grim Reminders decks, not the top tier Grim Reminders decks. The other thing we got to keep in mind when we talk about Baltimore, because we'll talk about Baltimore in a second, is that several of the top Grim Reminders decks have already won a Vault Tour and got pulled out. Now, it's not a huge number, so it shouldn't really make a massive dent, but it is a thing to keep in mind when we're talking about how good Grim Reminders is and how well other sets are being able to deal with it. Alliance. Alliance was run simultaneously with Archon, meaning players had to make a choice of which event to compete in. 8 chose to forge alliances, which means the tournament was completed to a top 2 according to the tournament rules and guidelines. Nearly every player in the field chose a different set, except there were 2 players playing Amber Skies and Call the Archons. Yeah, Alliance seemed like it was really good at Portland. Willie the Kid won, Random Joe in second place. Congratulations. Enjoy your world invite, guys. House selection varied quite a bit. Like, Alliance is just in, I think, a pretty good place right now. It's just, it's not dominated by any specific strategy or meta. It's still way more high level than I can deal with. Like, it's just KeyForge at its most ridiculous, and I'm not able to really hang in that bracket, but I get it. It's good. You know, it's healthy. You got a mix of sets, you got a mix of houses, you got a mix of strategies, and it seems to be kind of in a really good place. So, yeah. Congratulations, Alliance players. Y'all are eating good. This is the time to be playing Alliance. Oh, and this is a new thing they did. So we've chosen to share all the data related to the tournament qualification rounds with the community. The top cut data is shown above. Our aim is for the information to enhance the comprehensive range of community-driven tools available for KeyForge. We've taken steps to eliminate any personal identification information and safeguard the true identities of players. To download a CSV for a specific tournament, please click the corresponding button below. So they're giving us all the qualifying round information, who played against who, which decks were they playing, what were the houses in the decks. Like, this is really good information, and I think this information is what we're going to want to see the most for Archon in Baltimore and Vegas, and eventually KFC. Because this will give us a lot more detailed understanding of the rock, paper, scissors between sets and strategies. Not just at the top level, not just with the top 8s, but like at the rounds of Swiss level. Alright, Second Amber. Players who got kicked out of the main tournament on Friday and Saturday could participate in the Second Amber tournaments, where they could earn chances to win a variety of prizes, including sealed KeyForge decks, deck boxes, and even a spot in the Prophetic Visions mini-tournament. Second Amber was astoundingly popular in Vault Tour Portland. Almost 95% of the eliminated players joined Second Amber to forge more keys. A total of 47 players competed in 131 games across the weekend. The person with the most wins across all the offered time slots was DD Reaper. Congratulations, DD Reaper! Well done. We're proud of you. KeyForge Prophetic Visions was once again shown off in a limited side tournament, the third and final preview tournament for it this season. Just like the other times this was done, spots were limited and earned through various means: an entry raffle for all attendees, a raffle for second Amber players, and sealed groups. Also returning was the Masters of the Vault side tournament on Sunday, which allowed players to take any release year of the Vault Master special sets and play a 3-round mini-tournament. 24 players participated in this side event. Our undefeated players were G. Froger, Cody Kratz, Juicebox, and Jace2224. Well done, everybody. Going undefeated. Excelente. New store, who dis? Guardian Games was a new store partner for 2025, continuing our trend from 2024 of trying to run Vault Tour stops in game stores. They've hosted many high-level events for various games, now including KeyForge. All the staff at Guardian were super knowledgeable and helpful. They went above and beyond to make our guests comfortable as they gamed. We very much recommend checking them out if you're in the area. From one GG to another, thanks so much, Guardian Games. Yeah, it was a great store, actually. We had a amazing staff. The space was enormous. Like, they had like a little bar. It was crazy. Key coverage. We had coverage across the weekend at Guardian Games, showing off all the finals for Sealed, Archon, and Alliance. Check all of the amazing games in KeyForge action by going over to Ghost Galaxy's YouTube. Unfortunately, we could not provide much commentary with the coverage, but we were able to mic the tables to have the players' voices come through. We're thankful to Flightless Pheasant, it's me, and Sad Crybear, community members that helped provide some additional commentary for finals matches on Sunday. Yeah, I did the finals for Archon, and Sad Crybear did the finals for, I think, Alliance? No, I did Sealed, and he did Archon. Or Alliance. I don't remember if he did Archon Alliance. I did Sealed. That's what I did. Yeah, it was a good time. Check out the 3-day coverage in this article, and if you're hungry for more, please go to our YouTube page to see the rest. Subscribe to see future content while you're there, and be sure to give our videos a like. More vaults yet to come. The tour continues. All the international locations have been finalized, and the U.S. tour isn't over yet. Think you can become the next Vault Warrior. There's only one way to find out. Don't delay. Get your tickets today. See you in the Crucible. Hell yeah. Big takeaways. As of Portland, Grim Reminders was still pretty much the top tier of Archon. It was still basically just taking names and winning all around. As of Portland, Alliance was a really fun and interesting format. It looks like they were eating really good. And I did really well in Sealed, and it was the last of the Amber Skies Sealed. So from here, the Sealed will be Prophetic Visions. That's really my major takeaways. So let's jump over to Baltimore and see how things changed now that Prophetic Visions will be in the field, both for Sealed and Archon. All right, let's do it. KeyForge made its triumphant return to the biggest game store on the East Coast, Games and Stuff. This iconic shop is home base for the Bay Witches, a local KeyForge team, who played a key role in welcoming 74 eager players. We all came together to find out who would seize the ultimate KeyForge title, Vault Warrior. 74, that's good turnout. Heck yeah, well done, Baltimore. Well done. 3 tournaments were completed across the weekend in each of KeyForge's competitive formats: Sealed, Archon, and Alliance. Champions who did not already hold the Vault Warrior title attained it, and were awarded an invite to the KeyForge 2025 World Championships in November, in addition to all their other prizes. Alright, let's get into it. Stories etched in amber. 3 brand new Vault Warriors etched their stories in amber. They collected during the 3 major tournaments and took place over the weekend. Several players succeeded in securing leading positions in multiple formats, demonstrating that skill truly transcends from one format to another. Numerous players who had previously reached the top cuts before Baltimore also made additional appearances, highlighting their talent, even though most did not seize a title. We introduced another 9 decks to the Halls of the Ascended, with special accolades to show off their accomplishments. As a reminder, Ascension removes these decks from organized play. Ascended decks may arise again when unleashed for the World Championships and open tournaments held at KeyForge Celebration in November. Now, let's honor our glorious warriors. Okay. So we're doing Prophetic Visions for the Sealed this time. So Baltimore hosted the largest Sealed event of the 2025 competitive season so far, with 69 players joining. Only a handful of players skipped this event, once again proving Sealed status as a top competitive format. Absolutely, it is the top competitive format. It is the one that most people are interested in, and so you should be willing to specialize your rules for sealed when it comes to how prophecies work with prophetic visions. I've already made this rant. I'm kind of micro ranting right now, but you guys know my rant. I don't think that I should have to pull my prophecies from one of the decks that I pulled a pod from. I only have 6 to choose from. It's not like I have just the widest selection in the world, and it's sealed. You don't even keep track of, like, for the most part, they don't even keep track of, like, anything other than that all of the stuff you're using came from the decks that you originally used. At least I think. I don't know. Maybe there's more back into it than I realize, and that's why it has to be that both of your prophecies have to come from the same deck. If that's true, I guess, then fair enough, but it seems like you could just change that so that sealed can have its own way of doing things that's better for sealed. But anyway. Players competed using 1 to 3 sealed decks of prophetic visions. This is the first time this set was used in a Vault Tour in 2025. Decks were constructed using the Alliance deck mechanics. Sealed allowed players to swap house pods from their 3 decks between rounds. Because of this, we do not have a detailed breakdown of the houses used, pod selection, or top cards of this tournament. Right. So winner is King of Bling. Runner-up is Comrade Bubba. And if you look in the top 8, you'll see my teammate Lazarus. Well done. Where he's representing. He's wearing the shirt. I didn't wear the shirt. I should have represented. Yeah, Team Visible Hand getting the wins. I want to ask anybody who did go to Baltimore, was the prophetic visions sealed enjoyable, or was it a little long and grindy and frustrating? Because I'm worried that prophetic vision sealed is going to be a little grindy and frustrating, especially if you don't get like a particularly good set of house combinations. So let me know, because I haven't played it. I want to know what you think, because I've done a couple of like pseudo sealeds with a couple of people, and it feels like prophetic vision sealed is kind of slow and grindy and not great, not awesome. Part of the reason being you're so limited on which prophecies you have access to, and that's why you should be able to pick any of the 6, because you only have these 6 and they're not always good and some of them are crap. Anyway, that's my rant. I'm gonna move on. Let's look at the Archon results. Okay, so this is what we want to know. We saw a new type of Archon meta emerge with the 60 attendees who participated at Baltimore. KeyForge Grim Reminders, which has long cast a specter over the format, barely made it to 10 deck representations. The majority of players instead took one of 2 roads. Those 19 souls who cast their lot with Prophetic Vision, or the brave 16 who set sail with Amber Skies. Archon's set field was as follows. So yeah, we see Grim Reminders, much smaller representation. Prophetic Vision's outrepresenting it considerably. And if we look at the top 8s, we see Toot and Carnage won with Amber Skies. We see we see Bubba got second place with Prophetic Visions, and then it's Amber Skies, Mass Mutation, Vault Masters, Tokens of Change, Amber Skies, Prophetic Visions. That's a pretty good spread, and no Grim Reminders in sight. Now, of course, remember that several Grim Reminders decks have already ascended and couldn't participate in this tournament, but I think overall, what I've been saying the whole time is turning out to be true. Prophetic Visions is healthy for Archon and is reinvigorating Archon and making it more interesting and more fun. What I'm worried about is that it might hurt Sealed. That Sealed might be less fun and less interesting and less enjoyable, because I don't think that Prophetic Visions... I think Prophetic Visions is one of the first and maybe only sets that was not designed with the play this set versus itself mentality at the core of the design. Because I think the core of the design was, how do we design a set that can answer all of the problems we've created without dominating the meta? Which I think they did manage to do. I think that's exactly what Prophetic Visions is going to be. It's going to be, the counter to everything, but not necessarily the one that wins outright in all situations. Because I think most Prophetic Visions decks kind of have to pick what they punish. And if you come up against a deck who does the thing that you're punishing, then you're going to do really well. But if you come up against a deck that doesn't do the thing you're punishing, you're going to have a harder time. So I think that works out, and I think Archon's in a better place for it. I'm just worried that Sealed might be in a worse place. But that's why I want to know, how was the Sealed? Tell me what you thought. And also, if somebody can go through the CSV data, that might also give us what we want for that. All right, so Similar to the sets that gave rise to the house, Geistoid has had a ghastly number of deck representations for quite some time, but dropped to 3rd place this tournament. Dis climbed from a previously low presence in the format to the top position with 25 decks in play, while the scientists of Logos discovered themselves with 23. Mars saw a notable decrease in representation compared to the norm, leading 10 houses here. Yeah, so Mars and Geistoid both dropped because now Prophetic Visions can counter the best Mars and Geistoid strategies, and that's what they were probably targeting, I would imagine. And Dis spiked because, honestly, Dis and Prophetic Visions and Tokens of Change, actually, is really potent. Like, really potent. And so it's got a lot of tricks, and some of them are really mean. But if we go down to cards most frequently used, look at our top 3. So even though Geistoid dropped way down in representation across the sets, the cards that people are playing in Geistoid are the same ones. In here somewhere in Junk Restoration, still holding in that top 3. I really think that they might just need to be nerfed. Although, on the other hand, maybe not, because I imagine a lot of those decks were in Grim Reminders, and none of them made it. And so if we assume that, you know, a majority of the Grim Reminders decks had a Geistoid pod and didn't make it, then, and we assume the majority of the Amber Skies decks also had a Geistoid pod, because that seems likely, because Geistoid's really strong in both. Like, I don't know. Maybe I've gotten to a point where I don't think these two need an errata anymore, but they should still be watched closely. If they continue to be in the top 3 or 4 consistently moving forward, we might have to think about doing something about that. Also, top Fate effect is apparently Thunk. And it's actually the only Fate effect in the top 10 is Thunk. I don't know if I would have predicted that, but okay, fair enough. Thunk's got a pretty good Fate effect. It destroys all exhausted creatures, which is pretty good. And so, yeah, if you can get the timing right on that, that could be really, really strong. Here's the rest of our top 4 and top 8s for Archon. So let's go down and take a look at Alliance and see if Prophetic Visions did anything to Alliance. Alliance ran similarly with Archon, simultaneously with Archon due to logistical constraints. Even so, 13 players joined the tournament in lieu of the Archon format. This constitutes running a top 8, according to the latest tournament rules and guidelines. KeyForge Prophetic Visions was the set to beat in Alliance, making up a little under half the field. The rest of the field saw a myriad of set representations, but the Allies did not have a clear frontrunner for which set was best to take on the rest. The full field as follows. Okay. So if we look at who actually won, though, does Prophetic Visions make up half of the top 8s? We got Lazarus won. Hey, there's my guy again. Look at Team Visible Hand winning. Winning! World's invite for Lazarus. Everybody give him a huge round of applause. We're so proud of you, bud. Go win the Worlds. Go do it. Do it. We believe you can. Take us all the way to the top. All right, so Lazarus won. He was playing Amber Skies. Mammon DG was runner-up. He was playing Prophetic Visions. And then we have Grim Reminders, Prophetic Visions, Call of the Archons, Prophetic Visions, Amber Skies. 1, 2, 3, 4 Prophetic Visions. You know, I don't know if that means that Alliance has a problem, but it might. It very much might mean that Alliance has a problem. It's also really, really possible with Alliance, because the field is so small, that the most competitive Alliance decks have already ascended. Because, like, the field of Alliance players is just really small, and assuming... Like, it's possible that if the 3 people who won the 3 previous Vault Tours had been there, and were playing what they had played before, that Prophetic Visions might not have done so well. We'll see. We'll see going forward how this handles, but a little bit of a, not a red flag, but a little bit of point of interest. Thing to keep an eye on. Put a pin in it. See where that goes. And if it goes somewhere bad, maybe we'll talk about it more. But yeah, it's interesting to keep an eye on. As was the case with Archon, Dis and Logos were the top houses. Logos in particular showed up in all but 3 decks, with 10 representations in total. Of particular note, Star Alliance rocketed to third place representation, and Geistoid was a relatively small presence. Alliance saw this top 10 breakdown. Yeah, okay, so Logos, Dis, and Star Alliance doing really well. Fair enough. I follow it. Top 10 most used: Wild Wormhole, Gift of Amber, Forgive or Forget, Infinity Strop, Rage Reset, Cover Fire, Gleaming the Cube. Okay, so this is why people were playing so much Star Alliance. Yep, because there's 5 Star Alliance decks and 5 total Gleaming the Cubes. I guarantee you every single one of those Star Alliance pods was playing Gleaming the Cube, and they were probably all Prophetic Visions. That just is what happened there. And Cosmic Recompense also. So they were running Gleaming the Cube and Cosmic Recompense for the most part. Yeah, I mean, I see the plan. It certainly can work. Absolutely. All right, so there's the tournament data. We have chosen to share all the data related to tournament qualification rounds with the community. The top cut data is shown above. Our aim is for this information to enhance the comprehensive range of community-driven tools available for KeyForge. We've taken steps to eliminate any personal identifiable information and safeguard the true identities of players. Download the CSV. I'm interested in the breakdown on this one. Particularly for sealed, I really am interested in the breakdown on this one. So if somebody does a breakdown on it and they know more, or you know a link to where I can see somebody who did a breakdown on it, I would like that. That would be very good. Second Amber. Players who got knocked out of the main tournament on Friday and Saturday could participate in Second Amber tournaments, where they could earn chances to win a variety of prizes, including sealed KeyForge decks, deck boxes, and even a spot in the Crucible Clash mini tournament. This is the mini tournament I thought they were going to be doing all season. I can't believe we didn't get the Crucible Clash mini tournament until Portland. Anyway, Second Amber was almost as popular with players in Baltimore as it was in Portland, with 93% of eliminated players joining Second Amber. A combined total of 69 players competed in 232 games across the weekend, the highest number of games being due to the higher attendance. Yeah. There were 3 people tied for most wins across all time slots Second Amber was offered: Sith of Angmar, M. Dussel, and Hammersmith. Well done, guys! Hell yeah! Get you that Second Amber wins. Side events. KeyForge Crucible Clash was shown off in a limited side tournament, taking the place of the KeyForge Prophetic Visions for our surprise reveal and pre-release side event, which we started doing at Vault Tour Rochester. Just like the other times this was done, spots were limited and earned through a variety of means: an entry raffle for all attendees, a raffle for Second Amber players, sealed groups. Ultimately, Quick Draw 3457 bashed his way to victory in Crucible Clash. Hell yeah! I want to know if that was fun. I feel like it probably would have been, right? I don't know. I would love to do Crucible Clash as the side event. That sounds awesome. Also returning was Masters of the Vault side event on Sunday, which allowed players to take any release year of KeyForge Vault Masters special sets and play a 3-round mini-tournament. 49 players participated in this side event, making it the largest of its kind all season. Congratulations to the undefeated players: General Store, Quick Draw 3457, Sutterkin, Jonesy, Tired Guy, and Architect Josh. Well done all. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. A whole lot of Games and Stuff. Games and Stuff has been a fixture in their community for over 20 years, and a stop off on our Vault Tours for 2 consecutive years. Their venue is stunning, filled with row upon row of fantastic games and other geeky sundries. Paul, the owner, has done a lot to support KeyForge, and we are forever grateful for that. Every staff member at the store does a stellar job of making the place as welcoming as a warm hug. Our event would not have been half as great without their help, so we gotta say thanks, Games and Stuff. Thanks, Games and Stuff! Hell yeah, LGSs! We love all of you. Key coverage. Finals for Sealed, Archon, and Alliance were all streamed live from Games and Stuff, with a nice private room for us to keep the noise down for the commentary we could provide. Check out all of the amazing games and KeyForge action going on over at their YouTube. Unfortunately, we could not provide commentary with all of the coverage, but we were able to get some community members to help out once they were eliminated. I Am the Wookiee was with us all 3 days, while we saw Drazcor and Dr. Sheep hop in. Sincerely, thanks, guys. Well done, Archon's Corner. Appreciate you guys. Check out Day 3 coverage in this article, and if you're hungry for more, please go to our YouTube page to see the rest. Subscribe to see future content while you're there, and be sure to give our videos a like. Vault Tour is more than half over. Oh, they're counting the international ones. Yeah. The US Vault Tour is full steam towards its final event, Las Vegas. Also on the horizon is KeyForge Celebrations. There are 4 international events to go, but as it stands, the Vault Tour is half over. Think you can become the next Vault Warrior? Your chance to prove it is rapidly running out. Don't delay. Get your tickets today. See you in the Crucible. Heck yeah. Good stuff. All right, so things to keep an eye on going forward. Watch Alliance. See if Prophetic Visions is causing problems in Alliance. It's a little premature to call it yet, but it very much might be. Archon looks really healthy. I think Archon might be stable, which I think was what Prophetic Visions was supposed to do. So as long as it didn't destabilize Alliance and Sealed to do it, I think we're in an okay place. Although, in total fairness, Sealed will only be a temporary problem, but it is the most played format that the most people like, and it's my personal favorite format, so seeing it in a rough spot for any amount of time is going to be kind of something I want to avoid and that I'm not going to be happy about. So Archon looks like it's in a pretty good place, but we still want to keep an eye on Junk Restoration in here somewhere because they're still massively overrepresenting, especially now that the number of Geistoid pods has dropped considerably. And Sealed... Was this a fun Sealed? I don't know. I didn't do it. I've played a few mock Sealeds, and they can be really rough and grindy. So tell me, if it was a good time, let me know, because there were like 69 of you, and surely some of you watch my videos, so tell me down in the comments, was the Sealed fun, or were the games kind of long, and was it kind of hard to like actually get your prophecies to go the way you wanted them to? That's really what I'm looking for. But yeah. There it is. We went through 2 Vault Tours together. I hope you guys had a great time going through these. I'm really interested to see how Vegas goes, because there'll be a little more information there, and Prophetic Visions will be a little less novel, so it might reduce its representation, although after its showing in Archon and Alliance, I think probably it's actually going to stay pretty popular, which is great, because Amber Skies really kind of almost didn't do that. Like, Amber Skies tried to be really popular and just couldn't win enough to stay really popular. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. So until next time, later, Archons.